Welcome to the InfoMullet YouTube channel. If you enjoy this content, please like or share. And if you'd like to support the InfoMullet by becoming a mulleteer, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate your support. It's the stage. So everything I just said is sort of the background context of this White House rule that was issued on foreign students would be banned from being in the US if a college was only doing online. This is the reality that I think colleges, as they struggle with this and navigate it, a lot are just saying, screw this, we're going online. Well, about a week ago, or not even a week ago, the White House issued, so here's some context, right? There's been a long-standing ICE rule that if you're a foreign student attending in the United States at a university or college, but you cannot just attend online classes. And the origin of this rule actually goes back to our last crisis. It's an after effect of the 9/11 attacks. There was a real concern after 9/11 that some of the terrorists had come in and attended flight schools but never showed up in person. They were not getting checked on. So a rule came out that has been in effect for a long time that you could not be a foreign student studying in the United States and simply take all online classes. In March, ICE suspended that rule because of the pandemic conditions. Makes sense, right? No one's holding classes. The White House guidance, which only came out late last week, was they were going to reverse the suspension despite the pandemic surging. We're talking new caseloads of 50 to 60,000 a day. The death rate's reversing. We all know that deal. But what happened is this really unified opposition to the White House's policy. And the reason why is it's like the golden rule. They who have the gold make the rules. And I think the important context here to understand is that foreign students make up about $41 to $45 billion worth of the US economy. And they are the bread and butter of a lot of universities, because if you think about it, if you're most universities have in-state tuition, out-of-state tuition, they have scholarships or federal loans. There's a whole lot of things you can do. Not that I'm saying it's cheap, but there's things you can do to manage tuition costs if you're a domestic US resident or citizen. If you're a foreign student studying in the United States, you tend to pay just full boat, full ride. And I think a lot of universities and colleges have been sort of relying on foreign student attendance to prop up an enrollment where the costs of college admission would have traditionally, we'd seen declining enrollments, but instead they've been drawing in students who tend to be from the upper classes of places like in certain Asian economies, especially China, Middle Eastern economies, especially Saudi Arabia, where you have the upper 1% or 2% of those economies, they're sending their children to study into the United States because it's considered a top-notch education, and then they return with that education. So how much of the university enrollment budget? Well, the numbers I found are a little old. They're from 2015, but the link's in the thing. 12% of all university students are foreign students studying in the US, but they make up nearly a third of all college and university revenue by fees. So that tells you if this had gone into place and they had just banned all students that couldn't, you are basically looking at universities losing a third of their budget in a pen stroke, or having to go in person, pay out these huge outlays of costs with testing that may or may not be reimbursed by Congress. And pretty much everyone came at this with the kitchen sink. All the universities, MIT and Harvard were the first ones to file a lawsuit. They were joined by a host of universities. I think 350 universities joined them. There was a second group of Ivy League schools that followed a separate lawsuit. 17 different states filed lawsuits. The US Chamber of Commerce, not exactly the world's most liberal bastion, came out against this because of the economic impacts. And this was probably one of the fastest turnarounds since Trump dropped the Kurds. I mean, this thing was pulled out and removed in a matter of days, but it still had an impact because students were being stopped from returning at foreign points of entry if there was indications that their school was online. ICE was already beginning to enforce this, which means there's some students who are going to have to be sorted out and allowed back in. Hopefully that all gets worked out. But thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to follow the InfoMullet, visit us on Facebook or Twitter. And if you'd like notifications when we post new video content, click on the red subscribe button below the video. If you've ever wanted to become a mulleteer and support the InfoMullet, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate the support.